Would you like to network with white positive people in your area to rid your community of anti-whitism, to help ensure the well-being of Western kind? If so, please consider joining or creating a Go Free Club. Go Free or Going Free clubs are dedicated to teaching the practice of going free of the anti-white meme pathogens preventing Western kind from protecting themselves from anti-whitism. By forming clubs, white positive members of a community can help each other to overcome the anti-white propaganda they have been infected with by utilizing the teachings of Jason Kuna's book, Go Free. Go Free clubs have been forming throughout Western civilization since October 2021. If you are interested in joining a club, simply reach out to the founder by email, and they will begin the vetting process to ensure you are white positive and willing to positively contribute to the club. You do not need to provide any identifying information to begin the vetting process, but you will need to meet with a club representative in person before joining an in-person meeting. In addition to joining an existing club, please consider forming your own if you live in an area currently lacking a club. Current clubs may be dedicated to entire countries or states, but as membership grows, clubs can begin to form at the city and town level. Mr. V, the founder of the first Go Free Club, is serving as the leader of the other Go Free Club founders. He will walk you through the process of forming your own club. Please reach out to him at gofreeclub@protonmail.com. Please help us to ensure the well-being of Western kind and Western civilization. Thank you.
Bunch of clowns software not working. We're rolling in. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay? Am I as mellifluous as always? Am I as ambrosial to look at as always? Of course I am. It is just a matter of whether or not the software brings it through as beautifully as heaven can provide it. We see that the other pieces of software now seem to be up and running. Entropy is up and running. Wasn't that a glorious episode of Discordant Dragons? If you were watching Yiz and her mighty team, you should have been. If you weren't, we will flog you. We will flog you and we will enjoy it. But more importantly, you will enjoy it. We will flog you mercilessly. And of course, I was working, so I wasn't able to hear every single word, but Yiz and crew were doing a mighty job. It was wonderful. It's very enjoyable. The different dragons, if you haven't watched it before, you should start watching it. You can do like I often do. I like to watch and have nothing else to do, but sometimes you got other things to do. You do that same with me. How many people are doing things? You're washing dishes with no white guilt. You're fixing the transmission with no white guilt. You are putting a new firing pin in your favorite rifle with no white guilt. Various things that you're doing while you are being entertained and educated and empowered with the only method that has been shown to do anything positive for people who are white positive, people who are concerned with what's happening to themselves, their families, our people, our countries. Everything else has to be read through some sort of a bizarre lens, some other objective than recapturing our destiny, to be able to declare, well, by this metric, there are more asses in the seats over here. So, well, by this metric, people come away from it more despondent than ever. So, and we have things, of course, so many victories. We have so many, my mind is trying to go so many different ways. We have so many different victories going on right now that it's just unspeakable that everyone's eyes aren't turning this way. What is it about that Go Free method? What is it about those people? Why is it so successful? No, instead, people are doubling, tripling down, getting more into the doom documentation as everything goes down the toilet. And here we have this anti-white. And we pointed out last time, and Scott, if you're listening, Scott Adams, if you're listening, you need to speak to me directly. We need to have private conversation so that I can tell you where you're going wrong. I can really help you. You can stop looking so inept to a great many people in the country if you will listen to what I have to say. My guess is that you won't, but you should. And smart people know that you should, because I clearly identified, broke down, and predicted everything that took place during your first meltdown, and I will do so again. So you have this opportunity. You said something. You talked about this anti-white group out there. You showed potential. Even, old dogs, new tricks, normally not something that they do. I'm here for you, though. I have been trained to be able to train a dog and a bitch, the best of them. I can train you. And so come to me, Scott Adams, come to me, reach out to me, and I will set you straight. And then you will actually be able to punch back against the anti-whites that have shut you down. You will be able to punch back at them in a way that actually cripples their machinery so that they cannot rebut you any longer. And I know that's what you want. I can see the rage in you, my friend. I can see the force is fiery within you, Scott Adams. Come to me, Scott Adams. Come to me, and I will train you. A little conversation here or there. And then, if you wanted to really do the right thing, you could kind of say, hey, I found all this stuff out by talking with this Jason Kuna guy. That would be good. It would like be a quid pro quo. Hook it up, Scott. Otherwise, you're going to continue to grope in the darkness, and you'll get a little bit right and a little bit wrong, and you'll still just be wrong. And I know you want to be right. So let's get there together. How's everybody doing? Sam is here. Wow, it is incredible to see the numbers we are accumulating. That is just awesome. I think this movement will grow, just my opinion, and I will do anything to help it do so. Wow, Sam, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you, brother. There's the great Fit and Healthy at Any Age. Elaine Sabatino is here. Hail, Jason and family. She's got company, but she's listening. Joel is here. Firecracker. Bass is here. Montana Kid. The Populous Pimp. Big 07. Joel. Bryce is here. Great to see you. Wrote your back. Real Vincent is here. Wonderful to see you. Go ahead and share. Kingdom of Inland is here. John is here. Go ahead and share that we are going to review Scott Adams today, and we'll have actual takes that will matter, that will be right. That's what's important. Pants is here. House of Wonders. Right News Network. Has anybody else been talking about this? This is something, isn't it? This quote of his that I put on the thumbnail. I mean, talk about being so far off from right. Quote, Scott Adams says, I think it's time Black America, or how does he do it? How would Scott Adams? I wish I had my coffee mug here. I think it's time Black America find out you went too far. He continues, Black America, you went too effing far. Close quote. Scott Adams. Where in the hell is that coming from, Scott? Could it be that you selfishly enriched yourself as an individual over the course of your life, thereby victimizing white people? Your white brothers and sisters, whom you don't look at as brothers and sisters. And you victimize them along the way as you espoused anti-whitism, as you villainy signaled it, as you hired only non-white people who didn't care at all, didn't want to repay you at all. Now that you're not needed anymore, Scott, they don't need you. Anti-whites don't need white anti-whites anymore. White anti-whites are beginning to get fed to the machinery, and you better like it. You better like it because it was the natural outcome. It was and you can trace this arc all the way back to something that still goes on today. And it's the inter-ethnic rivalries in Western civilization among Western kind. Very stupid of those people. Very stupid. They're not listening to yours truly. And you know it's not going to go well for them as a consequence. But you were out there. Great to see Anna. Great to see you here. Griffin's here. Hey, he is the unifier. Straight from Discord and Dragons. We were talking about how awesome you and your guest in the show was tonight. Machiavelli Sucks is here. Oso is here. The great Franklin has shown up. Victorian time traveler. Olrak is here. Yes, Scott. So you were, over the course of these long years of your life, villainy signaling anti-whitism. You know what you were doing. You saw that in the anti-white narrative, the group that is said to have been most wrongly put upon, at least in these United States, it sort of jockeys back and forth, but it's primarily the black race. And you saw that then would be the one that you would give your pay and praise and promotions and jobs to. And it's really the jobs, isn't it? You gave out a lot of jobs, specifically ignoring white candidates and helping them to get where they wanted to go in life and where their talents and the dues that they had paid earned them to be. But no, you didn't help them out, Scott. So they ended up, who knows where? Who knows? Who knows where their lives? Maybe they ended up in a fentanyl stupor and death because you decided not to help out fellow white people, your brothers and sisters. And now you have so many sick white people out there. They grow up inside the anti-white narrative, and they're busy out there learning that as radical individualists, just like you, Scott. So the criticism I'm giving to you for being a radical individualist is the same criticism I give to all these other white people out there that are radical individualists. And so when they have something they suffer from, I want you to follow this. Just Scott, listen up, and everybody else, listen up to this. When you are a radical individualist and there is a threat, something that causes harm to you, how do you know the person is a radical individualist? They hate the threat. They focus entirely on the threat. It's not about their people. And that's why there are so many sick people, white people out there, who see these comments about the black race. And I know you qualified your comments. You said, oh, it's not all blacks. You definitely said that. And you definitely said, if the data is correct, you definitely said that. But anti-whites don't need white anti-whites anymore, especially ones that don't want to set themselves ablaze, self-deprecate, sacrifice on the altar of anti-whitism. And they really don't like old white guys, no matter how anti-white you are and how anti-white you've been. So that's why Scott's so mad, everybody. That's why Scott's so mad. He's spent this lifetime looking over white people. He spent his whole life looking over white people for anti-whitism. And he loved the pay he got out of it. He loved the sex he got out of it. He loved the adulation he got out of it. He loved being the white guy who showed up among anti-white non-whites and had them all applauding him. Thank you for doing so much for us. And now they don't need you anymore. So now he's pissed. Now they're like, we don't care what you've done. We don't care how many jobs you gave away. I heard people calling into shows, black people, anti-white black people calling into shows, saying that you don't do anything for a black person when you discriminate against a white person and give a black person that job that they didn't earn, that they were given it because they were black or they were female or they were part of some not victim group, but privileged group. They don't care. So we're going to take a look at this audio. I think at least 1.5 speed, or the video too, 1.5 speed. We'll see. We'll get through about, about 20 minutes of it. Has anybody else talked about it? And what was their what were the conclusions that others drew if they've watched this and talked about it? Does anybody know? Can somebody tell me? I'm curious what other people are saying. All these white people who suddenly feel simpatico in hatred of the black race. You need help. You definitely need help. The first thing you got to learn and accept is that you are demonstrating that you are a radical individualist. And that it doesn't matter how many threats out there could be knocked down, you would remain a radical individualist incessantly and victimized by collectives. The only way to correct this problem is with the method that we share in Go Free. You have to center our people, not center the black race to talk about the worst of the black race. And then after talking in these great generalizations, then you're like, oh, well, yeah, of course I know this good guy and he's black, and this good woman over here and she's black. And then of course I know, but still, okay. All right. You've got to not be a radical individualist. Entropy is up. Whoa, we already have Yiz, the unifier, has shown up on Entropy. God bless you, sister. $5 financial gift. She says, I can't stay for the whole stream since it's late, and I have things I must do. Yiz, the unifier, is a very early riser, folks. She says, I hope you can catch all my D Discordant Dragon stream tonight because I made all 5 dragon topics relevant to Go Free talking points, and it went great. Kip, I absolutely 100% will catch all of it, and you all should too. Thank you so much, good sister. Thank you for your service to white well-being. What a glorious woman she is. What do we have over here? Okay, looks like we have both, of course, Odyssey up, D Live is up, Cash App is up. Make sure you tag me with any questions, comments, or concerns. We'll go ahead and pull up here. Scott Adams, episode 2051. Let's go ahead and find that. Where are we? Is that it? Yeah, that looks like it's it. Share. And we'll come over here and we'll do like one of these. And then we'll make that so that I'm big and beautiful here for you all. And Paul is with us. Great to see you, brother. Paul is with us. Lavish is here. Hello, sister. Art Acrobats. Great to see you, brother. National Party Cat. Hello to you and welcome. All right, let's go ahead and see. I don't see anybody saying that they saw anybody else cover this. So we'll go ahead and have a little bit of a look. Tell me if the sound is okay. He gets right to this. I stepped forward to 3 minutes, 54 seconds because he's right here. He's about to tell you the theme.
I hate to say it, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it because there's a theme for today's live stream. Here's the theme. That's too far.
Okay. I'll talk about this again as we go through this. What he's talking about right there is that he would love to see these anti-whites handcuff Donald Trump. Because what he says there, I believe, is accurate. The more photographs, video of the persecution of this guy, the more it's going to engender support. So he's saying photographs of Trump in handcuffs will guarantee his win. And that's what we were mentioning yesterday. So I agree with that. But the theme that he's talking about here, and I'll come back to this, you've gone too far. I want to say it right up front so that, or they've gone too far, so that you have it with you for the time that we're together watching this. And that is, to say that they've gone too far is a tacit acceptance of the premise of their mission, their objective, their ideology, and that they've just taken it a little too far. So I absolutely disagree that they've taken it too far. Anti-whitism needs to have its flowers given to it until it pushes off to sea, to sail for other lands, to never return. That's what anti-whitism needs. None of it is right. None of it is good. You need to understand that what he is saying to you is his honest opinion, that anti-whitism is good. It's just gone too far. Well, Scott, how did it go too far? Well, it bit you in the ass. That's when it went too far, because Scott Adams is a radical individualist. This is your typical old white guy. And this is your typical young white boy. This is your typical white person, whether they are American, Canadian, British, Australian. This is your typical white person. And this is a great example of how they get upset with the system. This is the sort of toothless, and how appropriate for him being a boomer to say toothless. And again, Scott, you can clear all this up. Just reach out to me. We'll talk about it. But it's just like, this is like the toothless gumming of anti-whitism while they adhere to it. The moment that he's taken up against the breast of anti-whitism, he would turn around with a fiery tongue and a rigid finger to point at you and call you the monster. Anybody adopting him now is a jackass. Anybody suddenly saying, well, he's suddenly real, babe. He's suddenly, look at him talking, telling the truth now. This guy hasn't said a single bit of truth anywhere. He is constantly looking for what serves the individual. This is a great example of the problem with Western kind. And I would join him in love for humanity, including Western kind. I would honestly, if you join him for hatred of Black people, you need therapy. You need a lot of therapy. Don't tell me, even if you believe that every single Black person out there, every single one, this is your opinion, not mine. Even if you were to fantasize that every single one was just like an alligator, and you say, well, if you go swim with alligators, alligators are going to eat you. Okay, well then, do you normally get together and celebrate hatred of alligators? Do you normally get together and focus endlessly on alligators? No, you don't. The reason why is because you're putting yourself first. You're only caring about you. You're just focused on you. And that's the exact same sentiment you have when you take up negative comments about Black people or anybody else, and you join them arm in arm to say, well, we've got this in common. We're radical individualists, but we got this in common. So you've gone too far is Scott Adams telling you that anti-whitism is good. And he says it in so many ways throughout the rest of this. Anti-whitism is wonderful, but it finally bit me because I'm still white and then I got old, and anti-whitism has just gotten more and more powerful. And so now I'm going to be thrown on the pyre. Art Acrobat says, can you contact him on his pro page? He would have to hear about me and reach out to me. There's no way this guy would, in my opinion, there's no way this guy would want to, if I reached out to him, they would talk to me. My size of my audience, remember, even this guy, he's going to do like the vast majority of people. He's just going to say, what's the sub count? Not any interest whatsoever. People could send him clips. They could be brilliant things that I'm saying. He's just going to ignore it. What's the sub count? And then from that, determine whether there's value. And you know what that's worth. But he'd be making the right decision to reach out to me. He'd clearly be making the right decision. I could set him right. More importantly, what I understand here of Scott is that he is pissed off at anti-whitism, at anti-whites. He's pissed off because they're sacrificing him now as well. Applauded like a seal when it was other white people. In fact, there are some big contradictions to things he said in the other. I love it. I love it. I wonder anybody else is going to catch it or not. But what he does want is he wants to be able to punch back at these people. And that we can give him the tools to do.
Have you noticed there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in the country that you would describe as going too far? There's a lot of stuff that started with good ideas. You know, the law should be equally applied. Excellent.
Started with good ideas. And so then he starts with something that everyone will accept to begin this argument. But he's making this generalization to sort of rope people into this very generic and very individualistic position of just generally things have gone too far.
Good idea. Excellent. Good idea. People should be treated with respect. Love it. And part of that would be referring to them in terms that are polite and they're comfortable with. I like that. That's good stuff. But do you think we've gone too far? I love the fact that an adult human in the United States can have surgery to turn their body into whatever makes them more comfortable, gender-wise, or even just cosmetically if they want.
Now, why would you? This is a curious statement. It's if you don't understand that he's villainy signaling there. I love that people can become dragons and My Little Ponies. I love it. I absolutely cherish it. I yearn for the day when I walk down the street and I see adults naked and they've had their genitals removed and they now have lizard tails sewn to their asses. Come on, Scott. It's one thing to say if adults want to mutilate themselves or if they want to, I don't know, sew a horn to the top of their head, then that's up to the adult. I'm not going to associate with them. But to say you love it is to villainy signal. I love that I'm here where people can just jack themselves up. Just jack yourself right up. That's the world I want to live in. No, actually, Scott, that's not a very healthy world at all. Actually, that's a really wrecked society. Where you have a society where people, adults in the world, are deciding that they want to transform themselves. They want to, actually, the proper word, Scott, is transmogrify. They want to transmogrify themselves into an abomination, like the guy I saw that wants to become a dragon. What the kind of a society doesn't immediately take these people into secure care places, secure care facilities? I mean, honestly, Scott, if we're to talk about this, healthier societies would find these people and set them on fire and go back to earlier in the conversation and feed them to alligators. Because if you're out there in the world and you are thinking that you are My Little Pony or you have a dragon or tail or whatever it is, then that's probably not the only thing wrong with you, Scott. You're probably going to harm people around you. That's kind of what we're seeing, right? A lot of smart people, a lot of even dumb people who took wisdom from the past said, I don't know about this. This seems really weird. So it's not a good world where that happens. Now, in my world, if I were to envision one, if people were this unhealthy, there would be health care facilities to try to right their wrongs to the best of our modern medicine's ability. That's what there would be. Modern medicine would be working on preventing this from happening. But gee, I love a world where they could do this. I love a world. All right.
They're adults. It's a free country-ish. Go ahead. But when you extend that to children, is that too far? That's too far. When you put handcuffs on.
See, and that's where, how do you know that's too far? If you are on the path of anti-whitism, children are not too far, Scott. That's why this is happening. That's what I've been arguing for so many years. And so few people listening, regrettably. They're all listening to your old ass. They're all listening to young scumbags and everything else out there. God, I could just go on and on. I won't. Boy, I got to just like inside my head, I'm having like an art. I'm like, go for it, Jason. Tear those motherfuckers down. Burn them down. And then I'm like, no, I got to listen. I got to talk to the people here. They've come here to hear about Scott Adams and how he's jacked up. I'm doing my best. If you are in the anti-white narrative, child sex is a natural outcome. Mutilating genitalia at any age is a natural outcome. Why? Why is it? Well, there are a lot of wrong people out there, and I'm sorry they've surrounded you all your whole lives. They'll tell you, it's the devil. That's the devil, Jason. No, it's not the devil. If it's the devil, you can't fight back. Well, it's the Marxists. That's what it is. It's the Marxists. I can tell you the school they started. I don't give a shit. I'm going to slap the spit out of your mouth. It's not that. It's anti-whitism. Everything in anti-whitism, get this through. If you're not one of us, you hear me for the first time, you're just watching now, or you hear it in a clip that some brilliant No White Guilt Clips makes or whatever it is. Get this through your head. Anti-whitism seeks to victimize Western kind, white people, Westmen, white people. Therefore, it seeks to destroy and overturn and invert everything that white people have produced, created, evinced, projected. White people have said sex with children is unacceptable. Anti-whitism, therefore, says sex with children is acceptable. Do you get this yet? Do you get it? Do I have to walk around with a ball peen hammer? It's Mephistopheles, Jason. That's what it is. It's Mephistopheles. Back to the sewing circle, bitches.
Or even talk about putting handcuffs on Trump for, we'll talk about what he did. Doesn't that feel a little too far? It's a little too far, right? And I feel as though there's a whole bunch of stuff that's hitting the same category.
So you got these, to finish that point, when you are anti-white, when you are living in the anti-white narrative, by the anti-white moral imperative, white people will create these arbitrary curbs, these arbitrary stop points. And what he's trying to do now is typical of a white radical individualist. He's trying to articulate an argument of generalized, we'll call them, what can we call them? Precepts? We can call them precepts. Like, this is the point at which this ride we've been on has gone far enough. But you don't get to decide that. It goes to its logical conclusion, which includes Scott Adams throwing you on the pyre. And until you understand this ideology, you got to call it anti-whitism. Until you understand it, you don't have a chance.
Do you think that canceling me was too far? What do you think?
And he just comes right out and tells you what's totally motivating him. It's interesting because he's more than smart enough to say, oh no, this is a broader cause. This is a broad, like Elon Musk did, like Kanye West did. But it's like Scott Adams here is so self-centered, he can't conceal how selfish and individualistic his argument is. It just comes right out. Or maybe his audience generally is just too dumb to even see it. What about me? Remember me getting canceled? Was that too far? I just threw that in there with child rape being too far, so you better agree with it. Doing a real good job hiding it there, Scott. I mean, it's just like under layers and layers of see-through material.
Canceling me, too far? Well, the right would say too far. The left would say, you got what you effed around and found out. That's the funniest insult I'm getting. People are saying, well, you effed around and you found out. To which I said, you didn't hear me complaining. Why are we even talking about it? Is it your complaint? If it's not your complaint.
I'm not complaining, but I was totally canceled everywhere, except I just keep bringing it up on my shows, and I went on other shows and talked about it.
Complaint is not a conversation. If I complain, well, maybe you have something to say about that. But no, I didn't F around and find out. I made something happen. It happened a little bigger than I thought it was going to happen, but I'm entirely comfortable with the outcome because
he had a tantrum. I explained it all to you in the previous videos. Check those out. There was no greater cause. And this is exactly what I'm talking about here. Elon Musk, Kanye West, turn their personal issue into a greater cause. And that's what he's trying to do here.
I think I'm one of the canaries in the coal mine in this situation. It's just too far.
He's the canary. Now it's all about Scott again. Could this is like some psychologists, psychiatrists out there have to watch these videos. This is like scary level of selfishness. Like, don't you realize this whole thing in America and all of the West is about me, Scott Adams? Don't you realize it? I'm the canary. They sacrificed me. Now they're coming for you. Not a word to the destruction of Western civilization. and all the white people that he helped to injure in this process. It's just now I'm the canary in the coal mine. The canary in the coal mine. This is to imply that others haven't suffered. We have this lovely little Scott Adams peacock. This lovely little Scott Adams. What is he, like some bird of paradise, huh? That's what he is. Is that what he would draw himself as? A Dilbert bird of paradise? And he's like, save me. No. The coal mine is littered with millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of white people who have suffered to various degrees, including horrific mutilation, ritualistic gang rape, buddy, while you sat there and watched and applauded anti-whitism.
And I think it's time to throw down the gauntlet. We would not hire these people.
I love this right at the beginning. It's time to throw down the gauntlet because I, Scott Adams, have finally suffered. And then his response, I wouldn't hire these people. Because that's what he's been doing for non-white anti-whites. I presume probably most of he didn't probably help non-white people who were not anti-white, because they wouldn't be lauding him as the white savior for their people. So I presume it was all anti-white non-white people that he helped, or only anti-white non-white people. And so now he's saying, I wouldn't hire them. Isn't it interesting also? This is kind of a tell of an anti-white's hand in modern civilization, that when you have run afoul of them, the first thought is ruin your employment. Why is that? Because without your employment, you don't have dollars. And it's not that paper you want. It's not those coins you want. It's that food you want. It's that clothing you want. It's that medical care you want. So when someone deprives you of the paper by depriving you of the job, someone like Scott Adams, what have they actually deprived you of?
These people being the woke. And I don't mean woke as an attitude, which is fine. I like being woke as an attitude. But once you bring that into my life and you put your wokeness on me.
He thinks woke is good. Hold on, what is this? National Party Cat says, after you are done giving Scott his lashing, will you accept this as somewhat good? We need as many people with platforms as possible. Scott Adams is not one of us. Is that what you mean? Oh, if you don't know how to not see a villain in your midst, then you are in trouble. He's no ally of white people who are trying to recapture our destiny. Not at all. I mean, he's actively saying here that he's anti-white. So he's not on our side at all. Saying negative things. And all these people who got off on, maybe not you in particular, but all these people who got off on him saying negative things about black people, it's like this. It's the Polyp Army, because he qualified every one of those comments. And it was a generalized comment. He missed one line. He missed saying a qualification one time, and that's what sank him. Because then, on that second time that he didn't say that qualifier, it made it look like he was drawing a deduction, which he wasn't. He had set it up the whole time. I called it a fulcrum. He had set up a fulcrum the entire time to walk right away from it in the next show or two, depending upon how much attention it got him. But it backfired. So he threw his tantrum. He thought it was going to get him attention, and then he was going to be able to flip over on the fulcrum and say, well, X, Y, and Z, this wasn't legitimate. I wasn't talking about all black people, etc. But you have all of these people now who are just unwell, radical individualists, who are so happy because they think Scott Adams agrees with you because he also doesn't like black people. Folks, he loves black people. He hates white people. That's who he hates.
You've gone too far. You've gone too far. And I think that we've reached a point where everything is now too far because there was no stopping it. And the reason it went too far is that white men were afraid to say anything.
Did I miss where you said
these people being the woke? It's time to throw down the gauntlet. We would not hire these people. These people being the woke. And I don't mean woke as an attitude, which is fine. I like being woke as an attitude. But once you...
So, of course, what does woke mean today? It means anti-whitism. So he likes that ideology.
Bring that into my life and you put your wokeness on me.
What did I just say about his radical individualism? He loves anti-whitism. He loves wokeness. But when you turn that wokeness on Scott, now he's got a problem. And who does he blame? He just said it. He's not taking the blame. He's blaming white men. Isn't that fascinating? All these white guys. Do all you white guys out there have no penises that support Scott Adams? I mean, no penis whatsoever. Are you like the Ken doll? What happened? Did your mama eat too many Snickers bars or take too many ibuprofen or pseudoephedrine or whatever when you were in her belly? How did this happen? This guy is blaming you. That's the only group he's blaming. White men didn't stand up. You were too cowardly.
You've gone too far. You've gone too far. And I think that we've reached a point where everything is now too far because there was no stopping it. And the reason it went too far is that white men were afraid to say anything. That's it. That's the whole story. White men were afraid to say anything because the penalty was too high. Well, fuck everybody. The penalty is too high, but I said it anyway.
Again, he's making this a universal. I did this for us. It was a tantrum that backfired.
I said it to piss off anybody I could piss off. The reason was to piss off. But the purpose is to make a change that would be good for everybody.
There's a slight bit of truth there. If you go back and watch what I said, he was angry about losing the status, of the great white savior in the anti-white, pantheon, losing that status, losing the wealth, losing the sex, losing, etc. People didn't pat him on the back at the restaurant anymore, wherever he goes. He was angry about that. And I guarantee you, he's been angry. The anger's been building more and more the last few years. He's getting old. He's seeing himself sagging in the mirror. There's probably no part of him that's rigid anymore, except for his skull. And life's looking pretty miserable. And now he's also losing all the praise as the white savior. So yeah, and he's like, these ingrates, I've been bending over backwards, screwing over all of these other people for candidates for jobs and for me to to put my name on this person as someone I believe that can really do the job somewhere else. And I knew all along that these people that I was doing this for, probably most of them that he did it for, were not qualified or were less qualified than other people, whether it was whites or people of other races, who knows? He knows it. And now he's saying, how fucking dare you? That's what ended up happening a few weeks ago. That's what he ended up having his tantrum about. Finally snapping the building when he saw that poll.
Not just good for me, because there's nothing that's going to help me. Right? I've sacrificed myself to the system at this point. So it's not about me. But
thank him. Thank him. You know what? There'll be Scott Adams fans that will come over to vex us to say, he sacrificed for us. He sacrificed. How dare you? Sacrificing for white people. What a joke.
If you're okay with where things are going, stay silent. If you're not, just say you wouldn't hire these people. These people.
You wouldn't hire these people. Isn't it? So it's that they immediately think about depriving you of your employment. But it's also, how has he suffered? He's been fired. And isn't it interesting that he wants the anti-whites who went after him to be fired, i.e. not getting a job, not being considered? It's the exact same thing.
Well, not being black people. No, I'm not talking about black people. Just say you wouldn't. But if you're okay with where things are going, stay silent. If you're not, just say you wouldn't hire these people. These people not being black people. No, I'm not talking about black people.
Okay, all you dickless white males out there, how do we even know you're males? I mean, your balls haven't even dropped yet. Did you just hear what he just said? Stop celebrating him as Scott Adams is with us now. He just hates black people as much as. What are you doing? How do you look this pathetic? You just chode, you got your belly hanging over your dickless wonder, and you're touting this guy all over the place. And we have work here that's actually changing the world. You fucking pathetic. The white race has become pathetic, made up of these people.
I love black people. I don't like
Loves black people. He does love black people.
the mindset that says I'm the problem. I don't like.
Doesn't like the mindset. Now, I want you to really focus in there, because if you look at this holistically with everything else this guy is saying, everything else he's signaling and giving away, tacitly as well, when he says doesn't like the mindset that I'm the problem, he doesn't mean I'm as in all of us white people are together in this. He means I as in Scott Adams. He's going to try to universalize it because he wants you to help him. But there's no evidence of anything genuine behind that.
The mindset that says children can be altered just because they think they should be.
Isn't that interesting that just a moment ago he said he's the canary in the coal mine? Is this the direction you want to go? And he tied that with children being butchered with the desire to change their genitalia or whatever. So he immediately here again weds himself. That time he said that he was the canary. This time he said it again, but could it be implied as a universal this time? Was he actually just taught? Was he saying, I got a problem with them when they just come after Scott Adams? He made it sound like kind of a universal, but then he immediately tied it with the harming of children again to empower that position. Oh, man.
There's something completely broken here. And the problem is that white men in particular are just shutting the fuck up because
White men are the problem.
you're afraid of getting fired, afraid of getting canceled. I think
He wouldn't have been fired and canceled if it weren't for you white male cowards.
everything's gone too far. I think that the anti-white movement is just so grotesque and so bad for the country.
That is where he says a thing of value. The anti-white movement, that's real. He was a part of it until they ate him alive. That anti-white movement is real. If he's able to identify it, then he is infinitely more guilty for not opposing it, for all of us, for not speaking out for you, for not speaking out for me. He has that popularity. He has that reach. He has that wealth. You can say, I mean, if somebody doesn't know, if somebody is IQ is 70 and they have no idea what anti-whitism is, they could never comprehend it. You can't really blame them. But this guy, he knows what it is. He just said there's something out there called the anti-white movement, so he can identify it.
That it's time that Black America finds out you went too far.
That's where he goes off on his personal mission again. He is so angry about them not continuing to laud him as the white savior. Black people. And what does this do for white people who ostensibly care, white sympathetic, who ostensibly care, they claim, about our race, about what's happening to our creations, our norms? What does it do for us? It leads them down another destructive, dead end, literally dead end alley. Because now what are you going to do? Instead of going to work or going to the family and talking about anti-whitism and our victimization, now these people are going to feel emboldened to go out there and say the black race has gone too far. Is that what it is? Scott, you were one of these anti-whites. You were one of these anti-whites out there going too far, hurting all of these white people. There aren't just black anti-whites. I mean, good God almighty, we got to deal with We got to deal with these one set of losers over here. The crutch. This is the other crutch cult. Blame it all on black people. These people either they want to blame it all on jaywalkers or they want to blame it all on black people. And then once there are enough Hispanics here, they're going to blame it all on Hispanics. And then the same with the Arabs. They'll then blame it all on the Arabs. Break out your crutch, everybody. Crutch cult has arrived.
Black America, you went too fucking far. I'm telling you because nobody else will.
He's got some real anger inside. He's got some real anger in there. I'm feeling it. Do you feel it? Do you feel that Scott has, maybe when he's not on camera, he's maybe articulating this a little bit differently? Like every third word is F. And like the volume is many decibels higher about how how all that he's done is now even in worse shape than it was just a few months ago.
Now, am I defending my comments? Of course not. They were meant to inflame. They were meant to attract attention. They were meant to piss you off. They were meant to deeply trouble you. That's what I did intentionally.
He's trying to help you out by deeply troubling you. So you'll take a look at these issues that are out there. What issues were exactly? Because you weren't actually articulating, it was a tantrum.
I don't apologize. It's too fucking far. You've just taken it too fucking far. Right?
How can he not cover it up? How can he not cover it up? Scott, why are you unable to conceal this radical selfishness? You are more than bright enough. What is going on, man? Are you unable to get your meds? I know there's a shortage out there. They're shipping a lot of it out to Ukraine, in my opinion. Check it out with CNN. Are you unable? Are you one of those lovely people out there that can't get your meds? You're supposed to conceal this, bro. Come on. Even Kanye West did better at this. Danielle asks, Danielle must be a crutcher. You got that crutch up your ass? You got that crutch on? Are you walking around with a funny walk because it's all the way in there? Tried to use it as a pogo stick? We focus on our people. So drop that crutch. Grow up. We focus on us. That's why we win.
It's time. It's time. Not because of Trump. I mean, the Trump thing's too far.
It's time.
But it's just too far.
It's too far.
Too far.
Too far. It's just too far. Too far. Too far. Sounds like this is like a school marm that has had enough of the boys in the back of the room. And they were joking and they're like, they punched one. They punched the other one. And they punched him. Oh my God, look, little Tommy's got a nosebleed. You punch him. It's gone too far. Too far. It's too far. It's too far. Too far. Too far. You brought a slug in the classroom. It's too far. It's too far. It's too far. White men are to blame.
All right, let's see how many other things have gone too far. Well, let's talk about Trump a little bit more.
So this was an interesting way how he then brings in these other subjects to build up, to make this theme. His thesis, it's gone too far. It was good, but now it's gone too far.
Do you even care what he was accused of? It's not really important to the story, is it? It's not. And when you hear that some DA found a clever legal way to take something that had already been dismissed by the feds, already dismissed as not important enough to go after, and then he found a way to cleverly combine things to turn it into a felony, that's too far. That is too far. If this were
when you hear, and so the reason I'm bothering to listening to this part is because I was busy. I don't know exactly everything that was said before, but clearly what he's doing is he is just like he did with children. Look, he's like, I was harmed. Children are mutilated. It's too far. Just too far. I was harmed. Trump, so many people love. Gone too far. The two of us too far. I mean, can you see what's happening here? It's like he's going to conflate himself with any number of things so that you'll come to his aid. You'll side with him in this. He's not doing a good job because he can't conceal how selfish it is.
were happening to Biden, It would be too far. It's not political. This is not political. Too far. Too far.
Starting off with the iconic
Again with
brow
the
freeze, I
commercials.
love how easy this is to
I
use. You
love
literally
how
just take a
easy it is to
spoolie
put
and
on
apply it to your
my-
brows, and it literally
just put
locks
it on
them
the
in all
brow.
day.
This is known as the
I
golden
put
ratio
it on
method,
my
and
cheek.
Anastasia
I put
actually
it
patented
over
this herself. These
the-
are the finished
Oh,
brows.
wow.
Let me know if you like
They
them,
look-
and let me know if this tutorial helped you out.
It looks like she sewed like hamster fur to her face. You just use this brush, and then you'll have hamster fur on your face. They get increasingly plastic with every new video.
It is so fine. I can do hair-like strokes.
I could
so
just stroke
easily.
my
It looks
hamster.
Natural. It's
Look at my little hamster.
blendable, and it comes
Look at my
in
hamster, and look at my eyelashes. I've got a camel's eyelashes. 13-inch long eyelashes.
12 shades.
All I'm going to do
Oh my God, look at this one. That's meant so that you can grab her right by that ring and drag her around.
is start at the tail and do hair.
I told you it was a hamster. It's just starting at the tail. Look at you just start at the
like
tail
flicks,
and you
little
work up
teeny
by their
strokes
little rear legs.
anywhere that
Watch out for
extra
their
filling
snaggy
is
claws.
needed, all the way through the brow until you get to
All the way
front.
through, and the hamsters really like it.
This is the perfect texture.
Oh,
creamy
boy.
Enough to blend.
Look
not
at this
so
one.
creamy it disappears. Has a
I can't even
different
hear this
flavor.
one.
I mean, that is a brow.
What? Oh,
That
what the
is
hell?
stunning.
Oh my God! Holy shit! Holy shit! Don't buy this product. Run. How can I skip it? Oh, here we go.
Let me give you some other stories that seem to be in the same vein.
I will tie some more things to my persecution so that you will side with me. In the news, you being devoured by piranha. You object to that, then you want to come to my aid.
You heard about this story last week. The students at Stanford Law, they had a judge come in who was a conservative judge, and he was protested to the point where he couldn't speak.
Yes.
And then
Too far.
the Washington Beacon
Too far.
published some of the names of the protesters. And the protesters are very angry that their public protest against a public person included their names. Well, if you're not proud of your protest, why'd you do it? You're not proud of your protest? Why wouldn't you want your name associated with it if it's such a good fucking idea? If it's such a good idea, put your name on it.
Does he normally use the F word this much? Wow, he's like on a roll with the F word. I think he needs to get that little hamster brush, put it right on, maybe make a couple of rows of hamsters.
Joke's on you. None of you are going to get jobs. You know,
Oh, no, come on. That doesn't make any sense. What now?
if it's such a good idea, put your name on it. Joke's on you. None of you are going to get jobs.
Okay, all of them will get jobs. They're anti-white. This is some sort of like wet dream for him. Does he wake up like it's like the mafia movie? It's like The Godfather where he wakes up with the horse head in the bed. Except this guy's waking up with his wet dream that all of these wokies, all of these wokesters are not going to get jobs. Just like he lost his job. They're not going to get jobs. He wakes up, they didn't get jobs.
You're going to have half as much opportunity. Everybody who protested this stupid, too far protest, too far.
The one thing that just unites it all is that it's too far. It's just too far. It's what unites it all. Not that it's anti-white, because anti-white is acceptable when it's in proper proportions and other white people are being victimized and I'm being lauded as white savior. And then young white females can come up to me and say, "Oh, Scotty, thank you for crushing the white race and being a good little anti-white, being a Herculean anti-white." And now they're just like, well, we don't like. They're probably the young white girls that used to bet him down are probably now heading on to anti-white, non-white guys. They're like, why would we want you? You are now an old white guy. You're the epitome of these people. Face it, Scott. You're phased out. It's phased out, Scott.
yeah, your names are going to be forever listed as people who went too far.
You know, this is what you're watching here is the meltdown. This is every anti-white white guy. Everyone, or virtually everyone, this is their meltdown. When they get to whatever age it is, and that age will constantly be sinking. And you're getting to see their private moments in their homes when they're finally phased out of anti-whitism. They can't kiss any more ass anymore. They can't harm any more white people enough to get some sex by doing it. And then this is where they are. This is their little tantrum.
And if somebody wants to hire an idiot like this, go ahead. You want to hire an idiot? These are all idiots. These are people that, who are protesting somebody who was a legitimate member of society, broke no laws, is a lawyer and a judge.
Westman Media says Scott Adams has gone too far. Yeah, he has. Get right, Scott. You gotta reach out to me. We'll talk about it.
And they're not even gonna let him talk. Too far. Yeah, you don't get a job. Sorry, you're unemployable.
In the past, Scott Adams would have said, well, what was the judge saying? What did he do to warrant this emotional response? Emotional responses don't come from nowhere. That's what Scott would have been saying before. Now it's just gone too far.
But he was at that protest. You're unemployable. Let's get their names. How about, here's some other backlash. So there, in California, not too far from where I live, there was a diversity, equity, and inclusion director.
That's D-I-E. Die.
Who was being forced out of a job or getting a lot of pressure. What did she force out? I think she was fired. And she was accused of white speaking. Okay, that's pretty bad, white speaking. And she was accused of, and here's the real part.
Oh, she must be, well, wait.
She was accused of not being gender inclusive because she didn't want to use the terms Latinx and Filipinx. Did you know that Filipinx was a thing? Oh, I'm not done yet. She's black. She's black.
Can somebody look this up? What is white speaking? Is this a new MP that I haven't heard of before? So if she's white speaking, could she actually be black? I mean, maybe she claims to be black, but she is too obviously white, and the other anti-whites are holding her to a stricter standard because of it and sacrificing her.
Or she identifies as black. Her photo is a little less clear, but she identifies as black.
What? Photo is less clear? Okay.
And even she, it's her job to police this kind of bad behavior that she's accused of. And even she says, do you know what she says? Too far. You took
guess what she said? Too far. It's all over. It's everywhere. Everywhere's gone too far.
took it too far. It's just too far. And even she couldn't handle it. She was like, this is now crazy. Latinx and Filipinx, and you lose your job for that. She's a black woman who got accused of white supremacy. That actually happened. It's too far. That's too far. It's time for the sane people to take over.
Non-white people get accused of white supremacy and racism and etc. all the time when they get in the way of anti-whites victimizing white people. All the time. Most of the time, they don't mean to get in the way. It's just accidental because they're like staunch free speech defenders or something like this. But sometimes they mean to get in the way. Sometimes they're like, hey, don't victimize white people anymore. And then like, oh, you're a white supremacist. And then all the gooberish white people, they run on out of Mayberry and they're like, well, how can they be white supremacists? They're non-white. Bye-bye, Edwin.
Because you're not saying this is mental illness that you're pretending is some kind of a political statement. Fucking mental illness. Let's say what it is. The woke people have some kind of mental illness. Not all of them, because the idea of wokeness, I agree with, is fine. But when you...
The idea of wokeness, which is anti-whiteism, that's good. He agrees with it. But the problem is you have a mental illness when you come after Scott Adams.
Take it to Latinx and Filipinx, and you want somebody fired for it, you have a fucking mental illness. We're treating their mental illness like it's your problem. No, they should never be hired. They should have some
Mike says white speaking is when non-whites speak against anti-whitism. Really? Whoa, that's interesting. All right. I hadn't heard of that one before. So non-whites speaking against anti-whitism. Interesting. All right, let's continue.
kind of therapy. And I think, the media is responsible for instilling this mental illness. All right.
He thinks he knows.
And she actually says, this was the DEI.
And that's the thing about anti-whites. They love it. They know it. They know it's all the media. They know it's all the universities, and they love it. And then they walk around, smug little fuckers that they are. And they're like, that's just entertainment. That's just history. If you've got a problem with it, there's something wrong with you. How does it feel now, Scott? How does it feel? And let this be all you white folk out there that are anti-white. This is coming for you. Same thing. It doesn't matter how anti-white you get. This is coming for you. I want you to pay special attention because it brings me great pleasure to know that you're very afraid of what's going to happen to you. You might even wake up looking just like him.
Person who got fired. She says, and actually many of my friends who are trans activists and non-binary people actually said all of this makes me feel uncomfortable because I'm constantly being demanded to state my pronouns.
No, that's totally false. That's psychotic. They love that. That's how they put it in your face, because it's something that inverts what we project onto the world and what we have projected onto the world. Our mores, our standards, it totally inverts it. I feel so they what? On Monday they were like, state your pronouns or die. And then on Tuesday they're like, I feel uncomfortable with having to state my pronouns. Fuck that, if that's true. Who the fuck are you kidding, buddy?
According to her lived experience, the very people that the wokies are trying to protect are saying
the wokies. Only boomers. Does anybody who is not a boomer, and we have got great boomers going free, but what's the deal with the boomers? It's just like you could give them any word, and it's the white race generally. You could tell the white race, this is how bad the white race is, radical individuals. You could tell them that they and their group are the shit eaters. And they would call themselves that. That's how dumb the white race has gotten. So they tell these old people, hey, old people, you know what they're called over there? Oh, what? They're called wokies. That's what they are. And then they go laugh as these dummies all stand around with their knee socks, sweating real heavy. So much of their medication through their skin, you can see the yellow and brown dripping down their cheeks.
Can you leave us alone a little bit? Like, just maybe give us a little less attention, please.
Golden Honeybee says, no, white guilt never comes up on my Twitter feed. I believe he is shadow banned. I'm ruthlessly shadow banned. Ruthlessly shadow banned. And we have evidence of other Stasi activities. So they know who to suppress. They're going to tell everybody in the world about the people who play their villain. And they're going to keep what they see as a genuine threat as quiet as they can.
Too far. It's just too far. How about Bill Maher last night? More on the same theme. He was talking about the ridiculous reparations plan that San Francisco came up with. And of course, like everybody else, he just mocks it as being openly stupid.
The ridiculous reparations plan. Does anybody else here remember when we watched Scott Adams with one Hotep Jesus? Black nationalist extraordinaire. Come and watch his 3-ring show under the big tent where he wrestles tigers, wrangles bulls, and takes the black race to total domination. Where Scott Adams said, oh, I love the idea of reparations, but here's how you have to do it so that white people won't be aware and push back. Do you remember that? Am I the only one who remembers that? Go back and watch the clip that I reviewed. Do you now he's calling it dumb.
Let's stop calling this about race. More on the same theme. He was talking about just maybe give us a little less attention, please.
Let's listen.
Too far. It's just too far. How about Bill Maher last night? More on the same theme. He was talking about the ridiculous reparations plan that San Francisco came up with. And of course, like everybody else, he just mocks it as being openly stupid. Let's stop calling this about race. This reparation plan is a bunch of stupid people doing stupid shit. This is stupid stuff. It's too far. It's ridiculous. It's obvious to anybody. None of them should ever get a job anywhere. Anybody who's associated with this recommendation of the reparations, I wouldn't hire them for anything.
Well, wait a second. What do you mean it's gone too far? Reparations. We just heard you with Hotep Jesus.
Right? Anybody who agrees with it, I wouldn't hire them for anything. I don't care what your color is. Don't care who you are. If this is your mindset that the non-slave state of California should even.
And there he goes. Wait a second. Now he's going to give you some qualifiers to say that, well, there should be reparations. He made the argument that there should be. He believed in reparations. He was a leader in the fight for reparations, but it just can't be done this brazen way where it's visible to all of the average white people, the Republican voters out there. It's got to be done in this tricky way to make it happen. Marlene says, the baby boomers invented the best slang. You're going too far. Lunder says, Adams will single-handedly make the phrase too far a hate symbol. It'll show up. You watch. ADL will be up there. It'll be like Sig Heil, white power, too far. You watch. And hopefully they'll credit him, Scott Adams, with it. Victorian time traveler pointing out, it's unfair. It's too far.
Consider taking money from anybody else and giving it to Black Americans who had no association with taking that
Do you hear? I mean, for a moment here, I'm having fun with this, but there's like really, when I see a blackguard liar, it really gets my dander up. This POS was 100% saying with Hotep Jesus that he was a leader in the fight for reparations to Black people from white people, and that you couldn't call it reparations and set it up like they're setting it up. It has to be another way to transfer all this money. And then he recommended, if you all remember, taking every single Black person and giving them the best education, the best tutors, the best everything from babyhood on through their adulthood. Remember this? And now he's saying, how dare you take money from white people and give it to white people who weren't slave owners and Black people who weren't slaves? Too far, too far. That's to make his case right now. You are seeing one hardcore selfish SOB that will make any argument to serve himself.
The non-slave state of California should even consider taking money from anybody else and giving it to Black Americans who had no association with any recent problems anyway. It's too far. It's crazy. It's stupid.
Too far.
And you should never get a job if you're associated with it.
Too far.
It's time for some backlash.
You should never get a job. Well, you were suggesting it. You had a secret plan to make it work that you could trick white people with. I guess you shouldn't get a job. Oh, I guess you don't have a job.
Even CNN today is talking about, do you remember Kendi, the author of the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist or something? And he was the big go-to guy during George Floyd. And he would be the one to explain what systemic racism is.
That's right, time traveler. You're right.
Apparently, he says there's some of his books are now being removed from schools and libraries because there's what he says is some kind of a campaign by conservative commentators against what they're calling systemic wokeness.
Of course there is. Of course, there are conservative commentators who are saying there's systemic wokeness. Everybody's awoke. They should all awake. They should all be brain dead, like the conservatives. Go back to sleep. it is the superpower of conservatives to come up with the worst arguments ever. Was that Reptile? Or no, was it Reptile or was it Lovely Porridge who wrote that? It is their unique superpower. The worst possible argument out there, and a conservative commentator, conservative organization leader will find that argument, I promise you. And they will bring it to you. And then especially the boomers will immediately repeat it.
It's a backlash against systemic wokeness, a phrase I would like all of you to adopt.
Adopt systemic wokeness. You're gonna actually see people in chats writing that now. Golly, listen, Wally, this is systemic wokeness. I know what's going on. I got my eye on it. Hold on, Phil. I'll clean that toilet in a minute. I'm talking here. I'm talking about systemic wokeness over here. That's the problem we have.
Yeah, systemic wokeness is a real thing. Now, systemic racism is real. Not denying that.
Okay, so the central argument of anti-whitism, this concept, racism, that defeated the West, he just said absolutely true. It's absolutely real.
Obvious in my opinion. But yeah, systemic wokeness is ruining the country even more actively at the moment.
Why is it more actively? Because it victimized him. White people, how do you all fucking get through a day? All these white people now choosing this guy as some sort of leader, the person they have to cite, the person they have to repeat. I mean, for fuck's sake.
He said the momentum was crushed. His momentum, what you would call this anti-racist momentum, was crushed by a pretty well-organized force and movement of people who were seeking to conserve racism. You fucking asshole. Whoa. No, you asshole. You're just an asshole. Let's stop talking about this as race. This Kennedy guy is just a big, giant asshole. Has nothing to do with his color. This is an asshole, right? The people who are pushing back are not defending racism, you asshole.
So many missteps.
No, they're defending sanity. They're defending a system that could work. They're trying to get rid of you, asshole, because you're ruining the whole fucking thing. So there's a little pushback. Now that's a story on CNN. You think CNN would have run in kind of an anti-Kennedy story? I mean, it was a little bit balanced because it showed his side as well. But even the fact that they ran the story, that there's a backlash against him, you don't think that the white people at CNN feel it too? Of course they do. Of course they do.
Are there any heterosexual white people at CNN that don't molest children? I'm not saying there are. I'm just asking a question.
Because everybody does.
Drinking warm water before bed.
Drinking warm water before bed will shrink your prostate, and then your bladder will work again. Why do they think by putting it into a British accent, we're suddenly going to like it? It sounds like Benny Hill to me.
Bed shrinks a swollen prostate overnight.
Oh, it shrinks the prostate overnight. Don't take your medication. Just drink water. And we can tell you, pay us $3,500.
Thousands of men are regaining control of their bladders every night as they sleep by adding one unusual ingredient to a glass of warm water.
One unusual ingredient. By adding slug eggs, they are regaining the function of their bladders.
Before bed. If you're frequently struggling with
Why do I got to see like this pipe leaking? This is profane. Why do they do this? Why aren't there like commercial police that hunt these people down and punish them severely for this sort of imagery? Here you got some old guy standing in front of a toilet. Who the hell wants to see that? And then a pipe with leaking.
Urgent toilet trips, a weak flow, or difficulty starting or stopping urination, then pay close attention.
What they should have done is they should have had like a shot from like here up for the difficulty stopping urination, and the old guy's just like, and piss is just spraying all over the room. Does your Wally lose control? Does your urine paint the walls?
Because Harvard scientists recently discovered this frustrating condition has nothing to do with hormones, genetics, or age, and in
Nothing.
fact is completely reversible.
It's simply because we stopped eating slug eggs.
They found that the real root cause is a mineral buildup coating the wall of the bladder,
Oh.
which over time spreads into the prostate gland,
Oh.
resulting in the humiliating growth cycle that affects so many men.
Aw. Nobody is going to eat or drink this stuff. This is nasty. We're moving on.
All right. Just to be clear, I don't endorse any violence for anything, except maybe against the cartels. But there is going to be a push, and all the
Against the cartel. Oh, so he wants war, and he wants us, the United States, to invade Mexico. So then we can have, instead of these just regular border crossers, we can have then the refugees, whole country of Mexico.
requires is some honesty. Now, honesty is really dangerous. It can be more dangerous than violence in some ways. You will get canceled, but maybe it's time. Maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time you get canceled. That right there is one of the biggest tells. When someone, you can think of this in any various number of scenarios, leader of a business or a division in a business or a tyrant over a country, a king over the kingdom, when they get pushed to the point that they feel like they've got nothing to lose, you better get the hell away from them, because they will make sure that you lose everything. He just said it right there. Maybe it's time that you get canceled. And by that, of course, he means fired. And how do we know that he's talking about you white guys out there? Because he said so at the beginning. It's because white men are cowards. They're not speaking up.
When I say that white men are going to be rising up.
Holy shit. Holy shit. God, I'm good. I am so good. I could tell you some of the times I've been told that I'm so good. You'd start sweating.
I don't mean in a racist way. I mean in a common sense way, in a way that would be good for everybody. They're not going to try to make anything worse for black people. If anything, they're trying to make it better. But it's just time. White men, you got to be honest. You got to say it's too far, and you got to put your foot down. You got to say that the Kennedys are assholes. The wokesters are assholes. None of them should ever have a job, and they can die in the gutter. Well, it's too far. I don't want them to die in the gutter.
Whoa. 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 He just said they could die in the... I think he's got a sore spot. I think he's got a sore spot over this. You know, in all seriousness, black people, Jewish people, Hispanic people, non-white people will be infinitely better off when we crush anti-whitism. All of us together. We crush it. And we acknowledge that we need to have white well-being as a people, all of us, not radical individuals, as a race. When Western kind comes together as a race, as a single people with many countries around the world, there'll be nothing that can stop us from reclaiming our destiny, and the reclamation of our destiny will prevent any more of this white erasure of our norms, our customs, our laws, which will benefit everyone in the West. That means everyone. That's how you do it. This is an appeal to radical individualism for the benefit of Scott Adams. That isn't going to go anywhere. No white person out there is going to say, for the benefit of Scott Adams, and to push back against the wokesters. Because what are the wokesters to them? The computations here are so prodigious. I could talk for another 6 hours on how these different people interpret and how they then derive erroneous conclusions based on erroneous notions. But I can't do it. You're just going to have to accept that I'm the brain surgeon, and I'm going to be working on your mother. And this is a very tricky thing. I can't begin to tell you how complicated it is when we go into your mother's skull and we have to do these different things. I can tell you, though, I've done this before. I see it work. I'm going to save your mother's life. go sit in the waiting room. But rest assured, there'll probably be somebody in this live chat or in the thread later that'll say, "Hey, you know what you're doing. Let me tell you." And they're going to be waving their crutch around. I got this crutch here. Who could wave the crutch around, the jaywalker crutch? Who could wave it around except the biggest imbeciles in the world? Now that we see an entire state of white people victimized as a consequence. The whole state of Florida. How many millions of white people are there? And now, is this law going to be passed? Similar law is going to be passed elsewhere. But get out that crutch, all right.
But if they're going to ruin my...
Oh, look, Reptile's here. I bet when he loses enough, he'll pull a Lenny Kravitz and suddenly, quote, discover his jaywalker ancestry to avoid anti-whitism. Hey, you might be onto something, brother. That might be coming. That might be his final ace.
My country, which appears to be what's happening.
But I doubt that the Jewish community are going to come to help this guy.
Don't ask for a lot of sympathy. They need maybe some mental health, resources. I wouldn't mind that, by the way. I wouldn't mind some mental health resources for the overworld.
For himself, he needs some mental health resources, not just the people who attack Scott Adams.
Anybody who thinks that Filipinx and Latinx is a necessary addition to our...
This is like listening to a child make these parallel arguments of, look how bad that is. This is just like me. You can't fire somebody just because they won't say Latinx. You can't fire me. You want to mutilate children? Well, if you don't want to mutilate children, you can't fire Scott Adams.
Our system. You just need some counseling. I don't need to change about that. And by the way, I'm perfectly open to adopting to new and better ways to deal with each other. I like change. Change is fine, but not from the idiots. All right, the change shouldn't come from the idiots. Let's get the idiots off the field. It has nothing to do with black and white. And as soon as you let them tell you it's about black and white, or boy versus girl.
How can he say that? He's really off his meds, or he needs some new meds. What was his quote? I think it's time, Black America finds out Black America went too far, period. Black America, you went too effing far, close quote, Scott Adams. And now he's saying it's not about, all right, not about black and white.
Or anything else. You're losing. It's fucking idiots against people who have...
I apologize for this, guys. I'm not some like overly delicate flower at the florists where I can't hear bad, but certain words like that one get really upsetting. It gets really dumb. To hear it over and over. It's that sound to the CK sound at the end, just again and again and again. So it's not an arbitrary selection of a word. It's our standards. The guy's cussing his head off. And is this normal for him? Does he normally bring you in? He's like, let me effing tell you about effing Dilbert. Nothing but a bunch of these assholes on effing Dilbert.
Have some rational sense left about how to make the system work. It's not about the people. We need a system that all of us can fit into and thrive. And they're breaking the system. Best system that's ever existed. Best one that's ever existed. Let me say again, I saw Colin Kaepernick's name go by. You remember that I've been and continue to be a huge supporter of Colin Kaepernick's protest. Because
I didn't, he did say that with Hotep Jesus, I think.
Because it was so offensive. Because it was offensive. Not because I agreed with all of his thoughts, but I thought it was worthy of focusing on to see what's what. So I thought that was all good.
This is also an interesting thing to say he endorses something because it offends. Let me ask you something. I'm going to go deep for a moment, and you people here will be able to follow. If you're in a society, let's say you're in China, what would be offensive to say in China? Are you getting it yet? What would be offensive in China is something that would offend the Chinese. It doesn't matter if there is a little colony of white people there, or Eskimos, or Mexicans, or the thing that would be offensive would be what offends Chinese people. It would be an affront to their mores, an affront to their norms, an affront to the way they do things, an affront to who they are, an affront to who they've been, an affront to who they want to be. So if you are in the West, then what is generally offensive? That which offends Western kind. That which offends our norms, our mores, our expectations for behavior. He just told you he loves things that offend. Here we're talking about general offense. And that's certainly who Colin Kaepernick was offending. This guy tells you everything you need to know about him. To run away. It's amazing that there are so many that have fallen right in line, like this giant bovine audience, mooing away, farting away, puking into their mouths and chewing what they puke.
Now, the fact that you hated it is why it was good. That's why it was good. The fact that I pissed off half of the country with my intentional provocation.
And what good does that serve? It serves the good of anti-whitism. So when you say, oh, I love it when people offend the population, they offend the country, rest assured that if you are, say, like in some sort of insular, rabidly anti-white scenario, like Harvard, if you were to say what offends there, he's not going to support that. He wouldn't go to Harvard and say, I loved it when Jason, Kuna, and Victorian time traveler came here to Harvard for lunch one day, and they said things that offended the entire school. I just loved it. Because he'd be, of course, sacrificed by anti-whites. So, people talked about this guy, and it's so telling of the people who say these things. And they've come to me. I've heard he's everything from bright. I think he's a bright guy, but all the way up through genius and mega genius and all this kind of stuff. My God. My God.
Is the Colin Kaepernick play. I mean, he's literally my role model. I thought, yeah, that worked.
My role model.
So I'll do it on a small scale too. I didn't realize it would become a big scale. I miscalculated that. But he was definitely my role model. So how about a little honesty? You want a little honesty for a change? Yeah. The whole woke movement is a backward, stupid, anti-success, anti-white movement. We're completely done with it. I have no patience for it.
You just said anti-white again. This is to rope you in to supporting him. It's good that he's saying anti-white. In the past, if I didn't, back in 94, start shoving this, and then so many of you champions picking it up, doing even more than me, especially some of our individual activists going out and getting content creators to engage and have conversations with them. I love you all. The teams, I love you all to the moon and beyond. These folks would never talk to me. They would never have anything to do with it. You did what I could never do. It is because of our efforts that anti-whitism is out there in society now. Concepts that overturn the concept racism. If we hadn't done that, he wouldn't have anti-white to use as cover, to use as a universal to try to rope you in. He has contradicted this position about the whole of wokeness a handful of times. He says he is 100% for it at other places in the first 21 minutes.
Or whatsoever. If I see a sniff of it, I'm automatically going to put you at the bottom of the list for hiring. You're not going to be my friend. I don't want to spend time with you. Now, a lot of people probably are asking me, Scott, what's it like being canceled and being labeled a racist? No fucking different from being a Trump supporter. No fucking difference. It's exactly like
this guy has got such a sore spot. You know what I think? I think his pee's not coming out when he hits the toilet. That's why we got that commercial. I think that's one of the other things going wrong with Scott. Gets out of bed like 10 times a night. Gets to the toilet. Won't come out. Listen, Scott, all you got to do is eat them slug eggs. They told you in that commercial. Start eating them slug. He probably hasn't. Didn't work.
Like being a Trump supporter for the last several years, I was also uncomfortable being around anybody black because they had been told I'm a racist for supporting a person who happened to be Republican, who had been branded by the asshole press completely illegitimately to believe in a narrative which was fucking ridiculous from the first moment on. The fine people hoax, the fucking bleach hoax, the Russia collusion fucking hoax. Every part of this was
He totally reminds me of like a pissed off old lady. This is so funny. He's so gelded. This is like an angry old woman right now.
illegitimate
I
lying
got to listen to
bullshit
more of that.
for several years. I was also
Somebody has to, please. Somebody has to. Not one of you who are don't waste your time. Not one of our people. Keep making memes for white well-being and everything. But this guy put some like some old lady gray hair on him, make him look like Aunt B from Mayberry. So he's just another Mayberry moron. Make him look like Aunt B here. And then you play this.
so uncomfortable being around anybody black because they had been told I'm a racist for supporting a person who happened to be Republican, who had been branded by the asshole press completely illegitimately to believe in a narrative which was fucking ridiculous from the first moment on. The fine people hoax, the fucking bleach hoax, the Russia collusion fucking hoax. Every part of this was illegitimate lying bullshit. And I got slimed just by being a part of it. Well, fuck you and fuck everybody else. If you're gonna just slime me for supporting a particular president that I thought had a set of skills that we needed at that time, well, fuck all of you. I don't feel comfortable with you.
This is what Charlie Brown hears. This is what men are hearing when a woman just bitches like this.
I don't feel comfortable with you. You did that to your own
I don't feel comfortable. I'm uncomfortable. You make me feel uncomfortable.
fucking self. I didn't do that to you. I'm not the one who made you think that somebody voting for a Republican fucking hated you. No, I didn't do that. I love black people. Always have.
Oh my God, this is so funny. Oh, okay, Mom. All right, Mom. I'll go to bed on time. I'll go to school on time. I'll stay there once I'm there.
I love black people. I hate what
I love black people, he says. I said I was black. I love black people. It's all your fault, black people.
has been done to them. I hate that they've been brainwashed. Not they, right? Every statement of anybody is always talking about many people. No statement refers to all the people in the group, right? Can we all be fucking less idiots for a minute and act like when
Oh my God. Let me see what y'all are saying. And we'll see if there are any financial gifts. I think it goes up to 24, 25. We're almost there. Unless y'all know about something else. Apollo is here. Great to see you. John Archer. That's a great name. E is here. The from the alphabet. Great to see you. Danielle, hello. Let's see. Oh, that's funny, Reptile. Any minute he's going to furiously grab the Tums from his purse. Yep. Or he's going to have to change his Depends after this because he shit those things. He didn't piss them because that prostate's too big. Nothing's coming out. He's like, I can't believe it. My prostate's bigger than my pee-pee. Hopefully you didn't already read the comment from me earlier. I didn't hear it. If you did, says Cool Papa J Mag. No, I didn't see it. Let's see what it is. Scott goes through and deletes comments from us on his streams. I've left comments talking about Go Free, spreading the lexicon, and when I go back to check them, they're gone. So he's seeing them. Do you think he has somebody? He probably had a black guy that was doing it for him, but not anymore because that guy probably has some self-worth and decided to leave the scene. Lunder says Scott Adams' eyebrows have gone too far, hence the first commercial. Yes, so true. He's got to get some of those little hamsters up there. Those girls were looking weird. What are they trying to get women to do? What is the deal with the eyebrow thing? All right. E. Essington. Success for All. That's a cool name. All right. Let's go back to Scott Adams. He's come totally unglued. He's unhinged here. This is Scott Adams off the hook. He has done that thing where girls, they undo the bra and they pull it through the sleeve. That's what he just did.
Somebody says black people, do they ever mean all of them? Do they ever mean all of them? When black people,
whoa, that is a total defense of the earlier comments when he definitely did give qualifiers, and then people just said nope. And why did they not give him the leeway? Because he's white and now he's old, so it doesn't matter what he does.
people say white people are racist. Do they? People, every statement of anybody is always talking about.
Get ready. Here comes. This is the inner dialogue. God, this guy reveals so much.
Many people. No statement refers to all the people in the group. Right? Can we all be fucking less idiots for a minute and act like when somebody says black people, do they ever mean all of them? Do they ever mean all of them? When black people say white people are racist, do they fucking mean every one of them? No, never.
No, Mom. No, they don't. Please stop yelling.
Only the illegitimate fucking press that would tell you that they meant that. You don't be a fucking idiot. Don't be a
You're going to get the vapors.
Fucking idiot. It never means everybody. It never means everybody. Ever.
Mom, please stop.
It's too far. Went too far.
It's too far.
So yes, I am uncomfortable in the presence of anybody who's been brainwashed to think that just having an opinion about a Republican president or anything in that domain makes you a fucking racist. I'm done. You can call me a racist all day long.
Thank God. I'm going to have to make the joke. I didn't want to, but thank God this wasn't a drinking game. We would have been blinded from alcohol poisoning. There would be no recovery.
I'm out of your little fucking prison. I'm a free man, and I'm dangerous now.
He's dangerous. And B is dangerous. She's on the prowl. She's had enough. She's tucking that purse tight under her arm. She's got her Rolades, like Reptile was saying. She's heading out. She's going to do damage.
That's what you did. That's what you did.
That's what you
Now,
did.
I plan to keep this productive. The first productive
That's
thing I'm
very
going to
productive, Scott. I feel like we've gone a long way in your therapy.
do is be honest. I'm going to tell you how I feel. And I'm going to tell you the price, right? You can do anything you want. It's a free country. Within the law, do anything you want. But the price is I'm going to fucking hate you. I'm going to fucking...
Boy, this guy is really upset. He's really upset.
hate you if you come out with me with the mindset that I'm your problem because I'm white or male. If your problem with me is that I'm white and that I'm male, I'm done. I'm not going to pretend anymore that I like you. Stay the fuck away from me. And that's not about black people. That's everybody who has the attitude that I'm the problem because of my color or my gender.
Don't ever refer to us as color. Don't ever refer to black never refer to color. Never say color because of his color. Don't do that because of their color. Don't discriminate just because of my color. MC here, race isn't skin deep. It goes far deeper. None is better than another. There's no cosmic measurement, no cosmic metric. None is better than the other. But it is far deeper than skin color. White people, especially conservative types who've been misled, misruled, they will say this because why? They say it because in their lives, particularly their childhood, when this MP was much more present, older folks out there will remember that as you go back in time through the incremental steps of anti-whitism's victory, there was a point at which, a very long point, where the meme pathogen that it's just skin, we're all the same, otherwise it's just skin. And white people, having learned that anti-white morality, that's the anti-white moral imperative, that's a meme pathogen. They then try to say, I'm moral, I am anti-white moral, because it's just skin color. You can't own anti-whites by claiming that you are a greater representative and adherent to their anti-white morality. You only do that because you don't understand what their objective is. That was just a step along the path to victimizing you. That's why it never works, Aunt B. That's why it doesn't work.
Gender. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to hire you. Don't want to work with you. Don't want to be your friend. If
he's about to cry. Does he cry? We're 25 minutes. Does anybody know? Does he cry?
That's cool with you, and you're getting enough.
His eyes. Look at his eyes right there. Is it just me, or are his eyes getting kind of reddish? Look at that right eye, the one on the left. Can you see my cursor? Is it starting to look pinkish red? This one, the other eye has a reflection. It looks like of a window on the lacrimal caruncle. And you can't really see the outside of the eye. But on the right eye, you can see the lacrimal caruncle, and you can see the exterior of the eye. And you can see that it's turned very pinkish. NWG Paradigm says he hopes so. Crystal, good to see you. Is it sister? Yeah, he looks teary-eyed. I think he does too. Does this feel like, I'm gonna be honest, doesn't this feel like a really angry girlfriend yelling at you? Trying to like do the blame and shame game? Scott Adams is an angry girlfriend. And he's come unglued. She's come unglued.
Benefit of pressing this anti-white behavior. If that's working for you, keep doing it. It's a free country and you have free speech. Keep doing it. But you need to know that white people are fucking done. White men in particular. Fucking done. We're done.
He's speaking for us now. He hasn't said one bit of concern for the white race. He hasn't said one word about us as a people. In fact, he has said the opposite during this 25 minutes.
Too far. Too far. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to be productive.
Here's what she's going to do. She's going to try to remain in a relationship with you. But she has really just stomped her little foot into the ground. And she squished her little heel into the ground. This is what she's going to do now. She said her piece. You were made to shut up and take it.
You know that I've created I'm trying to create some counter programming to let's say the narrative that you should look backwards for your inspiration. Let's look at all the horrors of the past in slavery and discrimination. They were horrors. Nobody denies it. You should all know it. It should be part of history. Totally in favor of Black History Month. But if you're going to take a losing...
Where did that come from? This guy will say anything at the moment in his head. He thinks, oh, I got to appease here while I am placate there, while I am trying to universally rope these people in that I don't care about. And unfortunately, so many white people are falling for it. I will immediately speak to that. It's just like free form argumentation. And look, he is crying. When you cry, very often your nose runs. I think we're onto something.
Perspective. And everybody,
holy shit. Crystal, you and I were right. Did anybody else say he was crying? He just wiped water from coming out of his nose from the tears.
Any adult knows that looking backwards is a losing play. If you're not going to use the tools of success that everybody uses to succeed, don't make that my problem. I'm going to make sure that everybody understands as much as I can the tools of success.
His voice sounds like it's the fluid that runs down the back of the throat when you're crying.
You don't have to use my books or anything that.
Oh, you can see the other eye a little better too, and it looks the same.
I might sell in the future. At the moment, I don't have anything you can buy anyway.
Oh, he's gonna write a book now about white males as individuals pushing back on the victimization of Scott Adams. And you know what's going to be disgusting? You all have no idea. There's so much scum out there, especially the crutchers, the crutch cult, and they're like, oh, Jason just has these books. He just sells these books. He's just a grifter. You know how tiny the number of actual sales are? This guy will sell thousands and tens of thousands off you dumb white asses out there. Tens of thousands. And look at his actual opinion. I've been fighting for us selflessly and incurring hardship that you all have witnessed just in the past couple of years. It's unbelievably disgusting stuff. And crutchers want to say, oh, he's out for the money from the books. And this guy right here, he's immediately saying, I'm going to write a book. It's not available yet, but I'm going to write it. There's his little laugh. There's his revenge face. He's got the book figured out. He knows what he's going to write. You're going to be self-publishing.
I'm canceled. But
well,
if I do,
if it's not self-published, it'll be some conservative outfit. You watch.
it's not about that. It's about, we have a whole country that's been taught a losing path. The losing path is division for no fucking good reason. The losing path is
it's going to be another conservative. They're trying to divide us. We need to come together and be profoundly anti-white to cure the nation.
looking backwards at all your grievances instead of having some positivity and looking forward. If you're going to fight with me instead of asking me how to be successful when you know I can help you, that's sort of on you, isn't it? All right. Did you watch that the white people in America canceled the most useful voice in race relations? Me. Right?
Whoa. I'm now thinking that this guy needs the award that Fuentes has carried now proudly of being the most megalomaniacal, self-centered, self-concerned, pompous, arrogant bitch.
I'm the first useful person because I told you what the fucking problem is. The problem is
I'm the first useful person. This is actually like hardcore tier nuts. He's been victimizing white people his whole life. And now he's the first useful person. See me on the cross I bear. I've done it for all of us. Buy my book. Oh my God.
is that you've been sold this grievance package that will destroy your life if you buy into it. If instead you buy into a model in which each individual can have...
He is actually crying right now. Such a narcissist. Yeah. Ezra saying White is here. Slotz is here. The great Franklin. Axiom. Do you hear him crying? Do you hear the warble of the throat, the vocal cords?
Have access to the tools of success. That doesn't make it easy. You still get to work. But if you take a positive approach, which I'm completely dedicated to helping any young person learn that.
No, he's
again,
not.
For free.
Not any young person. Non-white young people.
Right? I'm not selling the service. I'm trying for free to tell people how to break out of their little mental prison that mostly white people have put them in, plus a bunch of race.
I know I just heard that wrong, because if I heard that right, then he just confirmed me being correct for the maybe 600th time in these 28 minutes. Did he just say white people have put everyone in a mental prison?
And a young person learn that. And again, for free, right? I'm not selling the service. I'm trying for free to tell people how to break out of their little mental prison that mostly white people have put them in, plus a bunch.
Are there content creators out there lauding this guy? I remember that apparently that leaders of that political party that'll go unnamed, they were all lauding him this first time around. When I got it right, they got it wrong.
A bunch of race grifters like Kennedy, fucking asshole, and a lot of other people who are just assholes. So don't let assholes make you think that it's black and white. We don't have a black and white problem, except that we've been told to have one. You've been sold a division so that the people in charge, presumably, don't have any heat on them.
Fuck's sake.
Everyone needs to have this tool to protect their home and their loved ones.
Oh my God, look at this guy. Doesn't he look like a force to be reckoned with, that guy? We can't go back on a commercial, but he does, doesn't he? You could tell by the way he swung that thing. Like he's never picked up, he's never held anything cylindrical. Look at this. You need this military flashlight.
This new military flashlight is basically a high-tech baseball bat.
It will basically shine light on things.
But be warned. Look at this.
If you ever get attacked by a glass bottle filled with milk, you have the tool for self-defense.
$600 flashlight is not a toy. It's so strong that it can smash through anything.
If you ever have an inanimate, stationary object that wants to attack you, you can smash it with this flashlight.
It even has a hidden knife, making it the perfect survival tool.
What are you going to do with that little knife? Shave?
And the flashlight projects an incredibly powerful beam.
It projects. It projects? Learn English.
Of light reaching up to 2 miles.
He was immediately arrested after that by law enforcement.
Was designed specifically for the American Special Forces to
is that
view
what it
enemy
was?
positions
I guarantee you that you're not getting the one that they use.
from miles away and to defend themselves
To
during
defend
close
themselves.
combat
When
missions.
you are in
in
close
enemy
combat
territory.
missions, you can have a flashlight too. And you just put this flashlight in your car, and when you see an angry brick nearby, you can sledge it to death.
Night. The flashlight features
You notice there was something very different about those guys that had flashlights. Maybe it was the MP5s. I don't know what it was. Probably the fully automatic firearms aimed at you, and the training, and the fact that they come in a group and in the dark with night vision that make them a little bit more deadly than some lame guy here, muscleless, wielding a flashlight.
state-of-the-art military grade CRE LED technology.
It's CRE. E. The extra E for effort.
Meaning it's at least 20 times more powerful than commercially available flashlights.
Oh, it's 20
It was designed
times
for
more
special
powerful.
forces and couldn't be sold to civilians.
They already told us it can't be sold to civilians, he's about to say, except they're selling it to civilians.
That is
Why aren't there institutions to protect us from this sort of theft?
until a few weeks ago, when an ex-special
few weeks
forces
ago.
operator redesigned the flashlight for
God, look at this guy. Look at that hairdo. Oh my gosh. He looks like, where this guy would be better suited is making your ice cream cone. You'd be like, no, do the ice cream just like your hair. Please. Just like your hair. That's what I want the ice cream to look like.
civilian use, while retaining all its functions for self-defense and survival. He used
look at that, the bear.
to love the flashlights when he was
Spotted
serving his
the bear.
country. He memorized the design and technology
He
so he could
memorized
build one at home. When he did,
He memorized it. As though you could just like memorize weapons that the military uses when you were there and then go out and build them again and make them available. And the military would be like, what? We memorized it? Damn. Shoot.
he was quickly visited by lawyers telling him that he couldn't copy the design exactly or he would get in trouble. He saw this as an opportunity to improve upon it and
he made it better than they use in the military. You mean it's not what they use in the military? Okay.
change things that bothered him when he was on mission using it. He
like,
adapted
like its actual effectiveness. That's what bothered him. And then look, here's another winner right here. You can trust that this guy is a master in self-defense.
it for better survival and home use. It still has all the same functions, strength, and technology.
You can even light up the soccer field for a midnight game of soccer. Just that's how he made the goal that night. He blinded the goalie.
As the military version, but now it's perfectly legal to own. He's the only one manufacturing it.
How did he make it legal? Isn't that fascinating? Look, and then they have like, here's a shot of a guy walking into a room with a bunch of boxes. That means it's good stuff, folks. Good stuff.
Having explicit permission to make and sell these in the US, he chose to call his product Bright Bat. Bright Bat is the
Bright Bat. Oh my God, that is so lame. What is this guy, like an Israeli special ops? Is that what it is?
most powerful self-defense flashlight ever made. Check out the difference yourself.
The most powerful self-defense flashlight ever made. From the makers of the most powerful flashlight ever made, the most powerful handheld fan ever made. Seen originally on Kung Fu Theater. Well, ha! Now available after memorizing the technology from those movies. You too can now own this ornate fan with which you can take down attackers that are fiction, not moving, inanimate, and made of confetti.
It even beats a car's headlights with ease. Bright Bat is made from the same purified aluminum they use on the latest 5th
Jets. If you buy this flashlight, it's like flying a jet, shooting out starbursts so that heat seekers won't hit the jet.
generation aircraft.
Look at
to
it.
withstand enormous pressure. And
You're
heat,
practically airborne with the flashlight.
meaning that the Bright Bat is indestructible. It's
You can run over it because your dumbass wife will probably run over it.
completely
Look at
water.
this winner. Whoa. There's no way that anyone can take this guy because he has that flashlight. Look at him there. I mean, that's a terrifying sight.
Proof, so you can perfectly use it outside on rainy
Reptile. Nobody needs a high capacity assault flashlight. Joe Biden.
days. And the hidden knife makes it great for outdoor survival.
We
The
already
Bright
told us
Bat
that.
also has a steel ball.
Also has
hammer.
this little nub on the end there. So that what? So when your car, what are they going to say now? When you go into the water, you can break the. I mean, how often is that going to happen?
in case you're trapped inside your car. This flashlight is the perfect multifunctional self-defense tool. Its light beam is powerful enough to blind and scare away
And when it doesn't work for self-defense, your wife has other uses for it.
an intruder. And it even has a strobe function, perfect for emergency situations.
For parties, when you want to throw that that rave that you always wanted to have, turn on the strobe function.
Where visibility is key to
Oh,
survival.
eye shine.
If you are
Probably
interested
going to
in
get
Bright
attacked by that raccoon out there.
Bat, there's something you should know. While
There's something you
completely
should
legal,
know.
this flashlight is not a toy, as it's
It's
so
not a toy. No, my flashlight is not a toy. It's the real deal.
extremely powerful. The U.S. Product Safety Commission is trying to classify it
It's
as
not only a flashlight, it's a flesh. I won't finish that.
military-grade defense equipment, while it will remain perfectly legal.
Whoa, why did they find these guys who are such perfect specimens of Mortal Kombat for this commercial?
To unwind.
And what is he standing beside? What kind of rigged situation on the side of his house is that? What is that even for? What is that thing?
It probably won't be long before it's taken off the online market.
Oh, I'm sure. The feds are just looking at this. Like Reptile was saying, Joe Biden's like, why would you need a flashlight that is not a toy?
That's also the reason why you can't buy it from web stores like Amazon or eBay. In fact, if you really want one, you can only order it from the
You can only imagine it.
official website.
You
And
can only
today,
order from the official website where the ice cream man will sell it to you.
only you can get yours with a 50% discount. Click the link in this
50%
video for
discount.
more
Whoa.
information about Bright Bat.
Buy now, get 3 free. Skip.
In other news,
In other news.
there's a big population decline in Asia.
I guess we end on something we both laugh about. Like, he's laughing because, like, that matters. He had to pick some other news so the whole thing wouldn't be him crying. All right, let's see what y'all said. Then we're going to get out of here. I got things to do. Oh, folks, please. 007s. Dude Bro Moment has come back 2 days in a row. DB50 hitting twice. DB50 tonight. 50 more US dollars. White well-being dollars. Man, thank you so much. You are a real champion. 50 more bucks. He says for white well-being, for going too far, for seductive hamster eyebrows. Oh my gosh. Well played, good sir. Well played. Rogus emojis, please. Rogus emojis. 07s for the great Dude Bro Moment. Having a laugh here with Scott Adams. It's all for fun. We love Scott. We love Scott, actually. It's all for fun. Don't mean any of it. You know, when we say Scott Adams, we don't mean all Scott Adams. Nobody effing means all Scott Adams. They just mean some Scott Adams out there. So it's effing get it right. Effing understand what I'm saying here. I'm just effing talking about some Scott Adams. Thank you, Dude Bro Moment. Really, that 50 bucks again. Man, champ. Tall Kevin's in with us. $5. Thank you, good sir. He says over here on Entropy, Scott's hairline went too far. We need the too far memes just in in droves now. His hairline went too far, and he can't find it. He should check for that hairline at the bottom of some of the money bag or bags he has laying around his multiple homes, cars, or vacation properties, or call some late night 1-800 number to get hair plugs. Oh, so true. So true. All that money, and it can't even console him. Doesn't even make him piss. The great Slaughts here with $3. Thank you, good brother. I want an opposition that dog whistles me being brave in their metric by saying I go too far. Yeah, I know, brother. And so I can tell them, no, I'm not, and still have the moral high ground in the values they validated. So true. Slaughts, the resident philosopher. God bless you, brother. Very well put. Mestizo is over in the question widget. Great to see you. Tonight's stream made this the best birthday ever. Well, let's get some happy birthdays to our good brother Mestizo there. Some birthday cakes. I'm glad, man. That's fantastic. Happy birthday to you. I'm glad it's the best one you've ever had. That is fantastic. We had fun tonight. We had fun. And the whole time it was Mestizo Carf's birthday. Happy birthday, good brother. That's what you deserve, man. Thank you all. Balloons, cakes, the little emoji dude blowing on the whatever those things are called. All right, let's check Cash App. Nationalism TV asking, do you know who Paul Town? No, don't know who that is. Is that somebody I should know? Oh, we have some financial gifts over here on Cash. Boy, we have Hardwood Operator over there on Cash App, financially gifting $10. Thank you, good brother. I really appreciate that. He says, it feels good to be the moral character. It really does, doesn't it? It really does feel good to be the moral character in our story where we are the hero. God bless you for saying that. Thank you for that testimonial. And for that financial gift. We also have Weston Kine financially gifting $1. Thank you, brother. He says, you would put the $1 to better use than I would. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Good on you. Marlene over here. Get out the 07s and some rugged emojis for the kind lady. Please, my friends, please. $25. 25. Save the white baby dollars from an angry Miss Scott Adams. $25. She said, so glad you will help old people. Our seniors in white well-being are the best, and we're going to protect them from the likes of Miss Scott Adams. $25. God bless you, and we appreciate it. We even have over here First Last has shown up tonight. God bless you, brother. $5 financial gift, and saying everything he wanted to say with those $5. And what we're saying here, when it comes to our evaluation of this video, it is safe. We have hit home plate safe. The throw was too late. God bless you all for coming out, having fun. Hey, share the truth. When you see people out there, Dude Bro Moment, I see in the live chat. Great to see you over there, brother. 07s to all. 07s to all. I won't be here next Sunday. I'll be at a conference, but I will be back. I'll do a roll-in during the week, and we will be back though after that. We'll do a roll-in, but not a regular going free. I won't be here on Sunday, so it's actually impossible. It's impossible. But I will leave you, at least tonight, with something worthy of seeing, and that is reaching out to our brothers and sisters. I want you to go out into the world the rest of this week, and where you see people praising this guy, and I think that maybe if he were to talk to me personally, we have some sessions, he would get better. He could be a better person. We could help Scott Adams. Will he reach out? No, that's not going to happen. But I could help him nonetheless. But when you see people, no, the answer is no to Hyperborean Jim. It's not going to affect your library. That's a good question, though. Thank you for that. When you see people who are in the white sympathetic community and they're suddenly lauding this guy, they want to push this guy, they say he's our guy or whatever, share what we've shared here tonight, ridicule them, make fun of them, make fun of their inability to urinate, using hamsters for eyebrows, having flashlights that aren't toys, and whatever else, drinking slug eggs, and the other things that they show commercials about while Scott Adams is talking. Share what we talked about here tonight, because we need to go right. We can't keep going wrong. If we keep going wrong, we're never going to get anywhere. We're never be able to recapture our destiny. And with that, my friends, you know it. You know it. I love you all. And you're going to see it in your face, wallpapered, white well-being, go free, nowhiteguilt.org. Let's make it happen. Roll out.